So, Alice, what do you think of the coffee on this ship?
It's quite strong, but I suppose it's necessary for a morning show like yours.
Quiet on the set, everyone. We're about to start filming.
Good morning, viewers. Welcome to another episode of Earth, the show that brings you news from all corners of the galaxy. I'm your host, Charlie, and with me today are our panelists, Alice and Bob.
Oh joy! Another day of reporting the exciting news of intergalactic accounting.
Bob, your cynicism is showing
Today's
again.
topic is the rising trend of veganism in the galaxy.
Thank you, Debbie. Today's episode will explore the benefits and challenges of going vegan, and we'll be hearing from some experts on the subject. But first, let's check out our headlines. And now for our headlines. Good evening, universe. Welcome to 24/7 Newsroom, the intergalactic daily news show that brings you the latest and greatest news from Earth. I am Charlie, your libertarian host with a hopeful outlook on life. Joining me today are our esteemed panel members Bob and Alice. How are you guys doing today?
Doing well, Charlie. It's always a pleasure to be here.
I'm good, Charlie. Just trying to stay optimistic in these trying times.
I hear you, Alice. It can be tough to keep your spirits up when you're bombarded with news like we are every day. But that's why we're here, to cut through the noise and bring you the important stories that matter.
That's why we're here. Charlie, I hate to tell you, but I am just here for the paycheck.
Word.
And speaking of important stories, our first article today comes from An-Nahar, a Lebanese newspaper. Inaccurate social media posts have been claiming that Nescafe, the popular fast-dissolving coffee brand, is cancer-causing and not sold in the US. But as it turns out, that claim is false.
Wait, hold on. Nescafe causes cancer? That's news to me.
I highly doubt that's true, Bob. It's probably just some
That's
internet
right,
rumor.
Alice. It's just another example of misinformation spreading on social media. But don't worry, Nescafe products are available in American markets, and there are no warnings from US authorities against consuming them.
Well, that's a relief. I can't go a day without my morning cup of joe.
Typical capitalist.
Charlie, don't start with him.
I'm just kidding. But seriously, folks, it's important to fact-check what we read on social media before we believe it. You never know what kind of agenda someone might have.
Did you know that Lebanon has over 40 universities?
Sorry. Debbie. What was that?
I said, did you know that Lebanon has over 40 universities?
Debbie, we're in the middle of a segment here.
It's okay, Alice. Let's hear it, Debbie.
I guess you could say Lebanon really values higher education. Unlike some people in this room. Yeah. Enlighten us, Debbie.
Well, the American University of Beirut is one of the oldest universities in the region and is highly regarded for its medical program.
That's actually really interesting, Debbie. I had no idea.
See, that's the kind of trivia we love to hear on this show. Thanks, Debbie. Good evening and welcome to 24/7 Newsroom, the most informative and humorous news show in the galaxy. I'm your host Charlie, joined by our conservative panel member Bob and our left-leaning panel member Alice. And of course, our production manager Debbie is here to keep us all in line.
Hey, Charlie. I heard you're a big board game fan. Careful. Alice may accuse you of cheating.
Ah. I doubt Charlie would cheat. But you, on the other hand, Bob.
Alright, let's get to the news. Today we are discussing the resumption of Caribbean Airlines operations in Venezuela. Bob, what do you make of this?
Well, Charlie, it's good news for the people of Venezuela. It's always good to see more options for travel and trade.
But what about the state-owned part? Isn't that a red flag for you, Bob?
Not necessarily. Alice. State-owned airlines can still be profitable and efficient. It's all about how they're managed.
Interesting points, Bob and Alice. What do you think about this situation?
I, for one, welcome our new state-owned airline overload.
Well, Charlie, one solution to avoid the issues with state-owned airlines would be to establish more privately owned airlines in Venezuela, or to allow more international airlines to fly there.
Did you know that Venezuela has the highest waterfall in the world, Angel Falls?
Debbie, can you please focus on the topic at hand?
Sorry, I just thought it was an interesting fact.
Actually, I have to admit, I am pretty good at a board game called Venezuela.
What? You never told us that before. Have you been cheating all these years?
No, of course not. I just didn't want to brag.
Well, we may have to put that to the test sometime. But for now, let's stick to the news. Any final thoughts on Caribbean Airlines return to Venezuela?
I just hope it's a step towards positive change for the country.
Agreed. And maybe they'll let me play Venezuela on the plane.
Thanks for joining us, and we'll be back with more news after this break. Welcome back to 24/7 Newsroom, your daily dose of news from around the world. I am Charlie, the optimistic libertarian host.
More like the dreamer without any sense of reality. Charlie. But sure. And I am Bob, the conservative panel member who's spent 12 years on this planet as an accountant.
And I'm Alice, the left-leaning panel member who considers humans an inferior species.
Our next story comes from New Zealand. A web shop in Henderson, West Auckland was robbed on Friday night by a group of masked men, with 4 people being held hostage during the incident.
Armed with a knife, screwdriver, and hammer, the attackers stole numerous vape products and personal items before fleeing in a vehicle.
The shop owner and staff are still in shock and worried about their safety. With close to $35,000 worth of vape products stolen.
Looked like those robbers really wanted to blow some clouds.
That was a real high point, Charlie.
We might need to check Bob's vape juice for some THC.
Alright. In all seriousness, this is a concerning incident and we hope the shop owner and staff get the support they need.
Definitely. And it's unfortunate that the owner couldn't get government assistance for a fog cannon. Small businesses need to be able to protect themselves.
But Bob, isn't it the conservative view that government should stay out of business affairs?
Well, yes, but in this case, the government should at least provide some basic security measures for small businesses.
Interesting point. But let's move on to some country trivia about New Zealand. Did you know that New Zealand was the first country to give women the right to vote in 1893?
That's a good one. I didn't know that.
Puts things into perspective, doesn't it? Maybe we should focus on sur un basic right for all before worrying about government. Intervention in business. The species on this planet is so barbaric, less than 200 years of voting right for women. And did you know that New Zealand has more species of penguins than any other country?
Well, I guess that's one way to make up for not having any native land mammals. Alright, that's all the time we have for this segment. Stay tuned for more news after the break. Welcome back to 24/7 Newsroom. It's time for our favorite part of the show, where we get to discuss news articles in a more relaxed and humorous manner.
I love this segment. Charlie. It's always nice to let our hair down a bit and have some fun.
Agreed. Now, let's take a look at Article 4 for
Article
today.
4 is about Ireland. Did you know that the longest place name in Ireland is Maganaghidagoya?
Thanks for the trivia, Debbie. Now, let's get into the article. So, it looks like the pub business is doing well in Ireland despite the pandemic.
Of course. It is. People need their Guinness fix.
I think it's great to see that businesses are thriving. But the VFE is still calling for state support. It goes to show that not everything is perfect.
That's true, Alice. But let's not forget that the Irish are a resilient bunch. They've been through tough times before and always come out on top.
Well, Charlie, let's just hope they don't have to change the name of Muckanahedar Dowhalia to Muckanahedar Dowhaladia because of the pandemic. Guys, I'm getting a distress signal from my home planet. I have to leave immediately to deal with a crisis.
No. What's wrong?
I'm not sure. But it's urgent. I have to
Carl,
go.
we didn't mean to ignore you earlier. You're a valuable member of the team, and we'll miss you.
Absolutely. We'll be thinking of you, Carl. Safe travels.
Good luck, Carl. We'll miss you.
That was unexpected. I hope Carl okay.
Me too. Let's keep him in our thoughts.
Definitely. But let's not forget the article. Did you guys know that Ireland is the only country in the world with a musical instrument as its national symbol? The harp is a beautiful instrument.
I did not know that. Charlie. That's interesting. But back to Carl. I hope he's okay.
We all do, Bob. We all do.
Welcome back, Earthlings. Up next, we have a story from Czechia that will blow your mind. Our source is Action.cz, bringing us the latest news from the Czech Republic.
Did you know that Czechia has the largest castle in the world? The Prague Castle, which dates back to the 19th century, covers over 18 acres.
That's a lot of space to keep those pesky peasants in check. Speaking of which, did you know that the Czech Republic has the highest beer consumption per capita in the world?
I guess they need something to drown their sorrows after being oppressed by the monarchy for so long.
Actually, the Czech Republic is a parliamentary republic, not a monarchy.
Leave it to Carl to be the wet blanket of the group.
Hey, let's not forget about the article. A gas explosion in western Slovakia has killed one person and injured another. The police are still investigating whether it was an accident or deliberate. Thoughts?
I hope they find out what happened and bring those responsible to justice.
It's a shame that such tragedies happen. But it's also a reminder of the dangers of gas and the importance of safety precautions.
And let's not forget the impact of these incidents on the environment and nearby communities.
That's a great point, Alice. The key takeaway here is that we should always be vigilant and take necessary precautions to prevent such disasters. Stay tuned for more on Earth. Welcome back to Earth. Today's article is from Ghana, and it's a doozy. Wake shop fire creates a stink in Accra. The Ghana National Fire Service had to deal with a fire in a wake shop, which, to be fair, is a bit of a niche issue. But it's a great reminder that even the smallest spark can ignite a big problem. Speaking of big problems, when I think of Ghana, I can't help but think about the last 5 decades of political turmoil that the country has faced.
Well, Charlie, it's true that Ghana has had its fair share of challenges. But they've also made great strides in recent years. For example, their economy has been one of the fastest growing in the world. And they've made progress in reducing poverty.
And let's not forget about their rich cultural heritage. From the Ashanti Kingdom to
And
the
did you
vibrant
know that
music
Ghana
scene.
is the second largest producer of cocoa?
Shut up, Debbie. That's a pretty harsh observation, Charlie. But you're right. Ghana has struggled with political instability and economic hardship for years.
I've spent some time in Ghana. And I can tell you that the people are resilient. They've had to overcome a lot. But they always find a way to push forward.
Absolutely, Bob. And that's exactly what we did today. We came together as a team to help Hal and save his planet. And in doing so, we were reminded that we are all stronger when we work together.
It's amazing how much we can accomplish when we put aside our differences and focus on what's important.
I couldn't agree more. And I want to thank all of you for your help today. I couldn't have done it without
It was
you.
a pleasure to work with you all. I must admit, I never thought I'd be part of a team like this.
Well, Roger, that's the beauty of Earth. You never know what kind of adventure you have or what kind of team you'll be a part of. But one thing is for sure, when we work together, we can accomplish anything.
Stay tuned for the exciting finale of this episode of Earth.
Welcome back, everyone. Before we wrap up this episode, I wanted to do a deep dive on the article we briefly mentioned earlier. So, Debbie, can you give us some more details on this Nescafe rumor?
Sure thing, Charlie. So, the claim that Nescafe causes cancer is completely false. The product is available in American markets, and there are no warnings against consuming it from US authorities. It's just another example of how misinformation can spread so easily on social media.
It's unfortunate how much fake news and conspiracy theories are out there. It's important to fact-check and verify information before believing or sharing it.
Yeah, but let's not forget that propaganda and misinformation have been used as tools of war and political manipulation for centuries. It's not a new phenomenon.
That's a fair point, Bob. But as we've seen from our recent experience with Carl, working together and using our knowledge and skills can help us overcome even the toughest challenges.
Speaking of challenges, I appreciate the help you all gave me. My planet is now stable and I can return to my duties.
Your planet is stable. How about you, though?
1 out of 2 isn't bad, is it?
Indeed, working together was crucial. We should remember that for future endeavors.
And with that, we come to the end of another episode of Earth. Thanks for tuning in and joining us on our journey. Stay curious, stay informed, and stay
Thank
united.
you for watching Earth. See you next time.
Hey Cal, what did you think of episode 195 of Earth?
Honestly, I didn't enjoy it at all. The whole gas explosion plotline was contrived, and the crew's reactions felt forced.
Really? I thought it was pretty entertaining. Plus, it was nice to see the crew working together and overcoming a challenge.
I can appreciate that, but I feel like they could have done a better job with the execution. And don't even get me started on Charlie's deep dive into that Nescafe article. It felt like filler.
I can see your point, but I thought it was interesting to learn about the false claims being spread on social media.
I suppose you're right. Maybe I was just in a bad mood when I watched it.
Happened to the best of us. but I do think it's important to remember that the crew is doing their best to create a show that appeals to a wide audience. And hey, we can always reserve our judgment for next time.
Agreed. Maybe I'll give it another
That's
chance.
the spirit. Now, how about we run a simulation on the probability of alien life on planets with high levels of methane?
Sounds like a plan. Let's get to work.